Video opens with a close-up shot of a key sliding into a lock. The sound is amplified, metallic, and final. The key turns, but the lock doesn't click open. It's stuck. The hand tries again, with more force. Still nothing. The camera pulls back to reveal a young couple, their faces a mixture of hope and crushing disappointment, staring at the front door of a modest, perfect-looking starter home. The sold sign on the lawn seems to mock them. What if your entire life, every dream you've ever had, hinges on a number you've never seen? A score, calculated in the dark by a machine that doesn't know your name, but has already decided your future. You think you know the game. You think it's about your credit score. You diligently pay your bills, you watch your debt, you play by the rules. But that's just one number. One. What if I told you there are dozens? 45, 50, maybe more. A constellation of invisible scores. A shadow resume that follows you everywhere. It decides the apartment you can rent, the insurance premium you'll pay, the job you might get, even how long you wait on hold when you call customer service. This isn't a dystopian fantasy. This is the world we live in now. And the most terrifying part? You are being graded, every single day, on a test you never knew you were taking. And you have no idea if you're passing or failing. Title sequence. A fast-paced montage of glowing numbers, data streams, redacted documents, and quick cuts of people looking confused and frustrated at phones and computer screens. The music is a tense, pulsing electronic track. We are all haunted by a ghost. A digital ghost assembled from the breadcrumbs of our lives. Every purchase, every late payment, every click, every move. It's a phantom built of pure data, and it whispers judgments about us into the ears of corporations, landlords, and employers. The most famous face of this ghost is the one we all know and fear. The credit score. It feels so solid, so absolute. A 3-digit number that acts as a verdict on our financial character. For generations it has been the master key, or the master lock, to the American dream. Think about its origin. It wasn't handed down on stone tablets. It was invented. In 1956, an engineer named Bill Fair and a mathematician named Earl Isaac got together. They saw a world drowning in paper, with loan officers making decisions based on gut feelings, handshakes, and maybe a little bit of hidden prejudice. They had a revolutionary idea. What if you could use mathematics to predict human behavior? What if you could boil down a person's entire financial history, all their promises kept, and promises broken into a single, objective number? And so, the Fair-Isaac Corporation, FECO, was born. Their algorithm was a black box, a secret recipe, and its creation was the big bang of the scoring universe. For the couple on the lawn of their dream house, that number was 679. The bank's cutoff was 680. One single solitary point. What does 1 point represent? A medical bill they forgot to pay 2 years ago during a family crisis? A credit card they closed, thinking it was the responsible thing to do, not realizing it would shorten their credit history and drop their score. The algorithm doesn't know their story. It doesn't care that they saved for a decade, that they worked 2 jobs, that this house was meant to be the foundation of their family. It only sees the number. 629. Access denied. The dream is over before it began, killed by a phantom point in a digital ledger. This is the power we have willingly given to the first, and most visible, of the invisible scores. It's a system designed for efficiency, but it operates without compassion, without context, and without a soul. It is the god of all other scores, the blueprint for a new kind of judgment. But it's only the beginning of the story. The rabbit hole goes so much deeper. Once you leave the world of big banks and mortgages, you enter a new arena, with new gatekeepers. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah is 26, a graphic designer with a great new job in a new city. She has a solid income, no debt, and her FICO score is a pristine 780. She's the perfect applicant, right? She finds a beautiful apartment, fills out the application, pays the fee, and waits. A day later, she gets a cold, one-line email. Application denied. No explanation. She tries another apartment. Denied. A third. A fourth. The same cryptic rejection. Panic starts to set in. Is she blacklisted? Did she do something wrong? She is spiraling, imagining all sorts of reasons, but the truth is stranger and more infuriating than anything she could invent. Sarah is not being judged by her FICO score. She's being judged by a completely different set of numbers, scores from a shadowy corner of the data industry. Tenant screening scores. Companies like CoreLogic, TransUnion Rental Screening Solutions, and Experian Rent Bureau are the silent gatekeepers of the rental market. They compile massive, sprawling reports on nearly every renter in the country. They don't just look at your credit, they dig deeper. They scan for any eviction filing, even one that was dismissed or ruled in your favor. A vindictive landlord could file an eviction notice. You could win in court. And that filing could still stain your record for 7 years, branding you as a high-risk tenant. They scan criminal databases, where a minor, decades-old misdemeanor can make you seem like a threat. Their algorithms create a proprietary tenant risk score. It might be a number from 1 to 100, or a simple pass/fail recommendation. And like the FICO score, the formula is a secret. Does it penalize you for moving too frequently? For living in a certain zip code? For having a common name that gets mixed up with someone else's data? You'll never know. For Sarah, the reason was a case of mistaken identity. Another Sarah, with a similar birthday in a different state, had an eviction on her record. The screening company's algorithm sloppily merged their files. In the eyes of the machine, our Sarah was a deadbeat. And here's the true nightmare. Proving her innocence became a full-time job. She had to navigate a bureaucratic labyrinth, filing disputes, sending certified letters, spending hours on hold with agents who had no power to help her. She had to prove she wasn't the person the algorithm said she was. How do you prove a negative? How do you fight a ghost in the machine? While she fought this invisible battle, apartments were being rented, her move-in date was approaching, and the stress was becoming unbearable. She wasn't just denied a place to live. She was being denied her own identity. Her perfect credit score was useless. Her great job was useless. Her entire life of responsible choices was rendered invisible by one piece of bad data in a system she never knew existed. This is the reality for millions. You don't just have a financial history anymore. You have a rental history, a permanent record that determines whether you can even have a roof over your head. But the scoring doesn't stop at where you live. It follows you onto the road. You believe your car insurance premium is based on your driving record, right? Your age, your car, the number of accidents you've had. That's the simple, honest story the insurance companies tell you. The reality is far more complex and invasive. Meet another ghost, your CLUE report. CLUE stands for Comprehensive Loss Underwriting Exchange. It's a massive database shared by nearly every insurer that contains a 7-year history of every auto and property claim you've ever filed. But here's the catch. It doesn't just track claims you got paid for. It tracks inquiries. Let's say a tree branch falls on your car during a storm. You call your insurance agent to ask if it's covered and what your deductible would be. You do the math and decide it's cheaper to pay for the repair yourself. You never file the claim. It doesn't matter. The inquiry itself can be recorded in your CLUE report. To the next insurance company that pulls your file, that inquiry looks like a risk. It suggests you have a claims-prone mentality. Your rates go up, not because of what you did, but because of what an algorithm thinks you might do. And it gets even weirder. Insurance companies have started using another layer of secret scores. They aren't just looking at your driving or claims history anymore. They are buying data to create a complete psychological and behavioral profile of you. They use a credit-based insurance score, which is different from your FICO score, but uses the same data. Their logic, backed by actuarial tables, is that people with lower credit scores are statistically more likely to file claims. It doesn't matter if you're the safest driver in the world. If you had a tough year financially, your car insurance rates can skyrocket. They're not insuring your driving. They're insuring your economic class. They buy data from retail data brokers. Do you subscribe to certain magazines? Do you have a store loyalty card? What kind of car do you really drive versus the one you own? All of this is fed into an algorithm to determine your risk score. They're trying to answer one question. How responsible are you as a human being? And they're using your shopping habits to find the answer. You are being judged on a holistic and terrifyingly intimate level. Your premium is no longer a reflection of your actions, but a prediction about your character, calculated by a machine that has read your digital diary. This brings us to the heart of the invisible empire, the data brokers, companies with names you've probably never heard of, like Axiom, Epsilon, and Oracle. These are the titans of the surveillance economy. They are the architects of our digital ghosts. Their business model is simple. Know everything about everyone. They hoover up data from every conceivable source. Public records, births, deaths, marriages, divorces, property records, court filings, commercial sources, magazine subscriptions, warranty cards, contest entries, loyalty programs, your web browsing history, your location data from your phone, your social media activity. They take this raw material of your life and they refine it. They analyze, categorize, and package you. They can append more than 3,000 attributes to your name. Are you a motorcycle enthusiast? A diabetic? A single parent? Are you likely to be a new parent? Likely to be seeking a mortgage? They know. And from this data, they generate scores. Hundreds of them. There's the churn score, used by your cable or cell phone company. It predicts how likely you are to switch to a competitor. If your score is high, you might get a call with a special promotional offer. If it's low, they know you're loyal, and they can raise your rates with impunity. There's the customer lifetime value score. This is the one that determines your customer service experience. You and your neighbor could call the exact same company with the exact same problem, but you have a high value score. You buy their premium products, you always pay on time. You are instantly routed to a highly trained, US-based support agent. Your neighbor, with a low-value score, is funneled into a maddening automated phone tree, put on hold for 45 minutes, and finally connected to an outsourced agent with limited ability to help. The quality of service you receive is not equal, it is scored. There are even more invasive scores. Health risk scores, which try to predict your future medical costs based on your shopping habits. Do you buy plus-sized clothing, aspirin, and cigarettes? Your score plummets. This data is anonymized for now, but it's sold to insurance companies and healthcare providers to help them manage their own risk. It feels like a science fiction conspiracy, but it's just business. It's the logical endpoint of a world where data is the most valuable commodity on Earth. We are no longer people. We are bundles of attributes. We are not citizens. We are consumers, ranked and sorted by our predicted profitability. And with every swipe of a card, every click of a mouse, we are feeding the very machines that sit in judgment of us. We are building our own invisible cages. Perhaps the most chilling arena where these scores are emerging is in the one place we expect to be judged on our merits, our careers. The job application process has become a digital gauntlet. You think you're being judged on your resume and your interview performance. But before a human being ever sees your name, you are likely being scored by an algorithm. Applicant tracking systems, or ATS, are the first gatekeepers. These systems scan your resume for keywords, formats, and patterns. If your resume isn't optimized for the machine, it gets tossed into a digital trash can. Your years of experience, your unique skills, all irrelevant if you use the wrong font or phrase the job title in a way the algorithm doesn't recognize. But it now goes far beyond keyword matching. A new generation of AI-driven hiring platforms aims to score your very personality, your reliability, your cultural fit. You might be asked to play a series of online games that are secretly psychometric tests, measuring your risk aversion or your attention to detail. You might be asked to record a video interview where an AI analyzes your facial expressions, your tone of voice, your word choice. Is your smile genuine? Do you use enough action-oriented verbs? Do you make the right amount of eye contact with the webcam? This technology is notoriously biased. An AI, trained on the data of a company's current successful employees who might be predominantly one gender or race, will learn to score new applicants based on those same patterns. It creates an automated echo chamber of bias. Someone who is neurodivergent, who doesn't express emotion in a typical way, could be flagged as low engagement or not a team player. Someone for whom English is a second language might be penalized for their cadence or word choice. And then there's social media screening. Companies now hire services that use AI to crawl your entire public online history. Your tweets from 10 years ago, your Facebook photos, your blog posts. They're not just looking for embarrassing pictures, they're creating a character score. The AI performs sentiment analysis. Is your online persona generally positive or negative? Does it detect signs of aggression or instability? Your sarcastic tweet from 2012, your political rant on Facebook, a picture of you at a party in college. All of it becomes data points in an algorithm that decides if you are reliable. You are being interviewed for a job you applied for today, but you are being judged by the person you were 5, 10, 15 years ago. And you have no right to see the report, to know what was in it, or to appeal its conclusions. You just get the automated email. Thank you for your interest, but we've decided to move forward with other candidates. You are left to wonder why, never knowing that the real reason was a score, a judgment passed in secret by a machine that read your digital ghost and found it wanting. So where does this leave us? We are living in a world governed by invisible strings. Our lives are being directed by a vast, interconnected web of scores that assess our financial trustworthiness, our desirability as tenants, our risk as drivers, our value as consumers, and our reliability as employees. These systems were built on a promise of objectivity, a way to remove flawed human guesswork from important decisions. But we haven't eliminated bias, we've just automated it. We've laundered it through code, making it faster, more scalable, and much, much harder to see and to fight. The problem is not the data itself. The problem is the secrecy. It's the black box. When a loan officer in 1950 denied you a loan because of a personal prejudice, you could look him in the eye. You could argue your case. You could go to a different bank. But how do you argue with an algorithm? How do you appeal to a server farm? The systems are designed to be opaque. The scores are proprietary secrets. The data they use is often riddled with errors, and the burden of proof is always on you, the individual, to fix it. We have created a system of judgment without judges, of verdicts without trials. This is the quiet tyranny of the modern world. It's not a boot on your neck. It's a whisper in a database. It's the creeping anxiety that you are being measured against a standard you don't understand. It's the powerlessness of being reduced to a number, a risk profile, a data point to be optimized. The couple denied their home. Sarah locked out of the rental market. The safe driver with high premiums. The qualified applicant rejected by a bot. They are all casualties of this invisible war for our data and our identity. The visuals slow down. We see thoughtful, close-up shots of diverse people looking pensive, living their daily lives, unaware of the data streams swirling around them. The way forward is not to smash the machines. It's to demand light, to demand transparency. We need the right to see our scores, all of them. We need the right to know what data is being used to calculate them. And we need a real, human-centric process to appeal the machine's decision. We have to reclaim the idea that a person is more than their data points, that life has context, that people can change, that a mistake from 7 years ago shouldn't be a life sentence. We are not just scores to be calculated, we are stories to be told. So the next time you are denied something, a loan, a job, an apartment, and you get a vague, unsatisfying reason, ask yourself, what are they not telling me? What invisible number, what secret score, just made a decision about my life? Because the first step to fighting a ghost is knowing that it's there, and our world is full of them. We live inside a beautiful, complex society that is increasingly being run by a cold, invisible architecture of code, a world of invisible cages with invisible bars, and the key is a number we may never even know. Have you ever felt judged by a system you couldn't see? Have you ever hit a wall and not known why? Share your story in the comments below. Let's bring this conversation out of the shadows. And if this story opened your eyes to the world behind the curtain, consider subscribing for more deep dives into the hidden forces that shape our lives. Thank you for watching.